Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today, Mary and I are joined by ABC Matt. Really nice guy. I loved Matt from the moment I met him. I had a couple of opportunities to meet him out on the meetup trail. Two trash to cash. Actually, I'm wearing my trash to cash T-shirt today, representing the boys. And I met Matt at both of the trash to cash meetups, the one in Orlando and the one in Las Vegas. So that was a lot of fun. So today, Matt's going to tell us about this meetup, the Pacific Northwest Reseller Meetup in Portland that he is hosting. So he figured let's give him a chance to come on out and tell everyone all about it. So, Matt, why don't you start off by telling my viewers a little bit about yourself, your history, your reselling, your YouTube, whatever you want, whatever you feel like talking about.
Sure. So I'm Matt. I go by ABC Matt in the YouTube, eBay, Instagram space. At first, it was ABC, stand for American Born Chinese. And then once I started reselling, people say it's always be closing. so I stick to it, ABC Matt. I started in 1999. I did reselling sports cards and memorabilia on eBay, and bought stuff from back then called Yahoo Auctions, and then resell it back on eBay. Then I took a break, and then fast forward to 2017. I moved from New York to Portland, Oregon. And then I was watching YouTube, and I went down the rabbit hole, and I said, who's this Kevin the Commonwealth Picker? I started watching his videos. And I'm like, wow, people buy these stuff? I'm like, this is amazing. So I kept watching his videos, and I go, you know what? I'm going to try this. And then I tried it. And to this day, it's a blessing and a curse that I could blame solely on Kevin for getting me down this way of reselling. But I do it as a hobby. I call myself a hobby reseller because I don't do it full time. I have a full time job, project manager for a computer software company. And then I don't consider myself part time either. I think of myself as a hobby reseller, meaning that yes, the money is great, but the money is not really needed. It's more just the pleasure of treasure hunting, little bit of an ego that you bought it at X and you sold it for Y. And then 3 is just because, like, when you get feedback and they say, hey, I found this item from your store. I reminiscent of my childhood. Thank you. So those are the 3 points that makes it fulfilling to be a reseller. So that is, in a nutshell, is my story. Going to the reseller meetup that I'm planning, my mindset was every time a reselling event happens on the West Coast, it's always in Vegas. I'm like, there's more to the West Coast than just Vegas. So I was like, it was difficult too, because if you see other reseller meetups, they're always a city, but it's more like no mass transit, not really tightly condensed. You have to drive everywhere. It's a different vibe. It's one of the difficulties I have with this reseller meetup is, one, I had to feel out how many people would go. Like, the cost is really hard because, Mike, as you know, like in New York, everything's expensive. So like in Portland, Oregon, also things are very expensive because everything is so tightly condensed and it's so hard to find real estate. And then finding the ideal location to makes more sense for everybody. So I made it free, just to feel it out. And then I found a space that's great where if I spend X amount, the whole space is free. So that works out. And then for me, everybody likes swag. So I was like, I have to come out with swag that people would use. So I'll show you in a bit the swag that I got for all the guests. So I put a lot of thought into it. So after doing the trash to cash in Vegas and the trash to cash in Orlando, and then just hearing about the reseller rally and planes to profit, those are all great. Just like, it's a different animal of what I'm trying to do. But I took bits and pieces of it. And then hopefully if people like it, maybe I'll do it more often. But this year was just to feel it out.
Great. Glad glad you did it. It's interesting. I just watched earlier today. You did a layout of the town
Yep.
and on the mass transit. And you really did a good job about laying out, like even the airport, the map of the airport. I thought that was very clever in
Yeah.
preparing the guests for coming on. And what I noticed was, well, one thing. Let me start off by saying one thing that impresses me about you, Matt, is that you you don't drive, right?
Yeah. I don't
Um,
drive.
you don't drive, so you do all of your sourcing on foot. You
Yes.
know, so that presents a bit of a challenge, obviously. And I think kind of figured you out a little bit in that your roots were in New York, and pretty much you don't have a car whether you drive or not in New York. You rely on mass transit, and you
Yep.
have to work within that realm. Now, looking at your recent video where you did lay out all of the details of mass transit in Portland and everything. Portland's pretty much maybe on a smaller scale, but a town very not much unlike New York.
Yeah.
And you were able to, and utilize all of the assets, the mass transit and the busing and everything, and all to work that within the constraints and the limitations of the city. So I think you took your city and you worked it out. You worked the layout of your meetup in accordance with all of that. So like I said, it is different. You're not going to have to really be driving around much or anything, right? You'll have everything mapped out pretty cleverly, and it looks like it's going to really be a fun meetup.
I
And
hope
being
so.
being free is nice, you
Yeah.
know. But that presents its own individual challenges as well. Because Mary and I were involved in planning the uh, the reseller locker room meetup in East Tennessee last year, and that was a free event also. So it presents its challenges, but it's nice in that the attendees don't have to incur any other than living expenses,
Yep.
and getting out there. It looks like it's going to be a nice event.
Yeah, and I mean, if it turns out great, then maybe I'll charge to get a better venue because there's a lot of cool creative venues in Portland. Like they have a whole school that converted into bars, hotels, and event spaces. So like they have like classroom that is like themed like steampunk, and then they have like another classroom like a library, and then they have another one like a theater, and then you can rent it out and stuff like that, and have catering services and stuff like that. There's another one where you can have the whole entire park for yourself, so you could have a whole park to do everything you wish. There's a lot of the world is your oyster in Portland.
Yeah,
They if you think of something creative, they probably have it
they have
already.
it. Yeah,
But the first time around, I just wanted to get a feel of it, so I did pretty plain vanilla with the reseller meetup.
Now, before we started recording, you were talking about how you had moved from New York to Portland. Can you tell us how that happened? With
Yeah, so my wife's friend moved to Portland, Oregon, and we visited her, and we like, oh, this is a cool city and everything. Then when my wife was in her 30s, she got shingles, which was stressful because of her job. She had shingles from her right ear all the way to her cheek, so it's like it was really bad. She was really upset because she was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna look like a stroke victim because of the shingles." But then she got medication and she was fine. But then that was life changing. So we were like, we were doing, I don't know, 13 hours a day working, and it was too much. I mean, the pay was great, but you spend just as much, so it was all relative. So I
Mhm.
like, you got to be smart about it. If we're gonna move to Portland with your friend, you have to get an Airbnb, feel out the city. If you
yeah,
like it, then find a place, find a job. You go on my medical plan in New York, and then once you're all settled, I'll be point A, you be point B. I'll ship everything over, and then I could quit my job, be on your medical plan, and then I find a job. So
smart.
we were separated about a year and some change, but we made it work.
Very interesting. That was very clever.
Yeah,
I'm glad it worked out for you.
thank you.
Wow.
Going back to the reseller rally, the reseller meetup. So I'll just show you guys. So everybody gets a badge. So, and it has
Okay.
our sponsors in here, Tree Cat and my reseller Genie. I didn't want to put too many sponsors in this event because one, it'll be inundated on swag, but two, more importantly, when people come to this, I want to make sure that it doesn't seem like a timeshare. So I want them to actually enjoy it. Everyone gets a bag, like one of those bags like
Aw,
this, and
awesome.
then my own personal swag, because it's a Portland and Portland people like to wear beanies. I got a ABC Matt beanie for everybody.
Aw. That's
So,
awesome.
and I'm trying to get people to send me stickers because then it could go into the swag bag.
Okay.
Sure.
Even if you guys have stickers, if
Yeah.
you want to throw them in there.
I'll send them for you. How many would you like?
Well, right now I have about 20 guests. It might increase a little bit more. So I would say maybe like 25, 30.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll do. I'll send them out in the mail
Awesome.
tomorrow. That'd be fun. So tell us a little bit about some of the details of the meetup.
Yeah, so the reseller event, Pacific Northwest Reseller Meetup, is May 8th and 9th. May 8th will be at a brewery. They have a private room there. And in there, we're going to have some fun games. We're going to have, I'm going to keep it a secret, but there's going to be games involved where there will also be some giveaways. And the space is pretty spaced out. You just have to spend a certain amount just to make it free. So the restaurant brewery asks for like spend about $500, then the event space is free. So 20 guests, including me, was that maybe I'll
25
figure the
weeks.
average person is about like $25, $30.
Yeah,
And
that's easy enough to
that
do.
should be easy enough. So then we get that event space for free.
Nice.
That goes from 2 to 7. And then the next day, they could source how they wish. Now, during the event, during the meetup, I'm going to ask each individual what they want to do because the West Coast is very laid back and carefree. I didn't want them to be in a party bus like Planes to Profit for the fact that a lot of them would not want to go to a thrift store all the time and see stuff. They have to be whatever sourcing, wherever they're comfortable with. So I rather keep it open, let them do as they wish, and then reconvene and meet up again to show all the stuff that they found and everything. So I didn't want it to be constricted. So during the meetup, I'm going to ask them each what they want to do because in Portland, Oregon, there's 3 Goodwill outlet bins to choose from. Plenty of estate sales. I think there's like 17 companies that all vying for your all your business. And then there's garage sales and there's thrift stores too. There's a whole avenue, couple blocks full of thrift stores. One at back to back to back to back. So you could go through all of them. So the world is up to them, and I'll go to each one of them and ask them what they want to do, and then give them my insight of my take of my experience and what I know about it, and then they could go nuts and go ham and decide what they want to do. So the next day, they'll do their sourcing, and then we'll reconvene at this food pod. Now, Portland has a lot of food trucks. They're all across throughout the whole city, and they fall into certain pods. So this one in particular used to have been an insane asylum location that converted into a little space for all these food trucks to congregate. So we're gonna meet up there, and then go over things that we found. Make friendships there. It's the last hurrah for the meetup. And then if they want Sunday, they could be a tourist. I hope that my orientation video shows them the layout and what they could do in the city, and they could decide if they want to do that for Sunday if they want.
And they could also do some source. Do you have garage sales and estate sales on Sunday as well? What's the basic format for Portland?
Yeah, so garage sales are usually Friday and Saturday. Estate sales are usually Thursday to Sunday.
Okay.
Thrift stores are all every day, and the the Goodwill bins is every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big part of it for me. I love sourcing when I'm away at the meetups, and it's really nice that you're actually organizing that. That's kind of something new that I haven't seen. Basically, all the meetups I've gone to, like the sourcing on our own time is pretty much like left to the individual.
Yep.
It's really not addressed specifically, or publicly. So, by you announcing that, I think it'll help people. What I find is people just eventually just automatically kind of get together and share. And what I can recommend is generally for any local meetup, like half the people or a certain portion of the people will be locals, and a certain portion of the people will be, people from out of town. So I suggest that the out of town people get together and pair up with the local people, even if you've never met them before. Sometimes it's even better. You get to meet somebody. That's what I do at every meetup. I'll approach someone that I don't particularly know, or just say, look, you're gonna go to garage sales tomorrow. Can I tag along? And they're always happy to accommodate and to let you join in. And then that's the biggest fun, because we do get a chance to source together, and I love that. I mean, basically, when I go to garage sales and estate sales, I'm alone,
Yeah.
and that's fun in and of itself. But there's nothing like having some of your friends along to kind of keep you company and to help you out. So and you learn, and we learn from each other. It's
Yep.
not a competition. People always say, well, why would you want to go to a yard sale or estate sale with a competitor, someone you're going to be fighting for? It's not that way at all. If
No.
anything, we are a very supportive community. We want to help each other out. We all want to see each other do well. So we're all happy to, bring raise the bar for all of us by being cooperative and supportive. So there's really no like competition or contention when we go out on the whether it's garage sales or estate sales, thrift stores or whatever. So really good thing to do to encourage that. And you pair people up. You just say, look, who's got a car, who doesn't have a car, and you kind of you'll end up with 5 or 6 different individual groups, maybe going in different directions. You have, what do you have? Garage sale finder app is what's useful in Portland.
Garage sale finder
.com.
.com also, estatesales.net,
.net,
and
yeah.
then estatesalefinder.com.
Okay, that one I wasn't aware of.
Or you could be crazy like me and take mass transit too. I'll show you the way.
No, that's just amazing how you do that. I still don't know how you do that. It's very an interesting sourcing model that you have, and it works for you.
Yeah. So what I do is I carry 4 13-gallon IKEA bags with me and my backpack, and usually they give you some information on Thursday. For instance, estate sales, they'll give you information on Thursday, but they won't disclose the address until Saturday.
Right.
So I have the zip code. So what I do is I actually see what kind of routes do I have to take to go from point A to point B. And then once the address gets disclosed, I'm like, okay, what's the estimated time to get to that location? When do I have to physically leave my house? And then I take that transit to go over there. Now, rare occasions I'll be first in line, but happens sometimes. So, but most of the time I'm like in the middle of the line, middle of the pack. I'm very strict of what I buy. It has to be able to be carried and bring it back. And plus the storage, I don't have that much storage too. So it has to be stackable or easy to store. And it has to be easy to flip too, because I don't want it to stay in my place for too long. The heaviest thing I ever carried was a 40-pound typewriter.
Wow.
It's from the 1950s, and I sold it to someone in Australia. It moved pretty fast.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
The biggest item I ever carried was probably an Atari system in the box with all the games. So it's like that big, so I'm carrying it like that. Yeah, I carry all that stuff. I carry Pyrex with me. I carry all heavy items but I'm young. I could do it. I have no excuse. I could carry all those things. But the problem is that when I bring home, my wife goes, "Oh, what do you bring home this time?"
Right.
And then she's like, "Oh, you made that kind of money? Oh, okay." And then she
Okay,
changed her
right.
tunes. And then now she looks at estate sales and she goes, "Oh, I want that. I want that." And I'm like, "Why don't you come with me?" She's like, "Nah, I'd rather sleep. You could go. You could go get it for me." I'm like, so
So,
that's my life in a nutshell.
so are you I was going to ask you kind of what you sell and where you sell. It sounds like you're kind of an everything seller then.
I'm an everything seller, but the things that sell fastest for me is vintage Pyrex and pocket knives.
Huh.
I mainly do eBay, but I have a small clientele now that I could sell to people outside the platform.
Oh, cool.
You don't hear this from eBay, but I sold people directly too. And I'm sort of a social smurf. So like when I'm online at a estate sale,
Yeah, you
I
get to
talk
meet the
I,
people.
I talk to people, and then one time this guy goes, "Oh, I'm into horror stuff." I'm like, "Well, I have a 18-inch Hellraiser statue. You interested?" "Oh
Oh,
yeah." And then his wife goes, "I collect Christmas stuff." I'm like, "Well, I have a ceramic tree. You interested?"
oh,
So they buy it from me. One, I don't have to pay. They don't have to pay shipping, but I don't
Sure.
have to ship either.
Right.
And I don't have to pack. All I do is hand deliver it to them locally, and I make my money and no fees. So it
right.
works out.
You walk into their house as well, or I guess
No,
you
I have them meet me at a designated location,
Okay.
usually public, because I don't know the person,
Right.
so I'd rather be in a public space, but I'm right there, and then I just do the transaction in the streets.
I would want a Hellraiser statue out of my house as quickly as possible. Oh my gosh. How does that all work like with your full-time job? How are you able to, manage?
So my full-time job is Monday to Friday from about 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So after that, I could do as I wish. So usually the weekdays I will online source from district or WhatsApp, whatnot, and then then when the weekend ramps up, I do the Saturdays to source, and then Sunday is strictly lists and video edit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my routine.
You do you publish a couple of videos a week or one a week?
Once a week. Yeah, once a week. And then I have big aspirations. I've been trying to pester this estate sale company to let me interview them. That way I could learn the ins and out of what they go through their side, and
That's
then
smart.
people know what we do, how we feel on our side. So at least
Sure.
the viewers know a little bit of information about what a estate sale company goes through. I have a little bit of information of what they go through, but I would like it on the interview portion. That way I could output to my audience of it.
Yeah, it's very helpful to get to see it from their point of view. Last year at the Plains to Profit during the meeting of the minds, one of the speakers was in like estate sales and real estate,
Yeah.
and she gave a very good presentation from her point of view of what's involved with setting up sales and this and that. And it was really helpful. It makes you think because we get so one-sided in our thought process. We're always thinking about our end of it, you know what I mean? But to see the person in the other shoes, it kind of brings a little bit of cohesiveness to the entire, sourcing project of both sides of it. So very helpful. So yeah, I wish you luck on that. I hope that you can, it'll be good content. I think riveting content and some stuff that will be helpful for the rest of us resellers as well.
Yeah, and I want to apologize, Mary. Like my videos is more sourcing, is not what sold kind of videos, because I know that's more your cup of tea with what sold.
You do not have to apologize.
But like, but for my videos, I like to show the people's perspective. I like them to see things in my eye, like the struggles I go through, what makes my mind tick when I pick up an item, and then go from there. And usually I don't do what sells because the stuff I sell can be redundant and it might not be the best thing for the audience. So that's why I do more of a sourcing video.
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy your content.
Thank
I
you.
was just watching one today where it was like all hell broke loose and every man for themselves, and the woman rushed ahead of you and she knocked something off the table.
Oh my God, that was so bad.
Free for all. Yeah.
That's so bad. It's tough sometimes because like book people will create like a little book fort to prevent you from looking at the books, and I'm like, man, I can't even go to the books because you guys are all over there blocking it. And then like then you have the clothing people, and then you have the stereo people. I was like, oh my God, it's like you see the usual suspects, and you're like,
Right.
oh, okay, I gotta
Right,
go with
that's
Plan B
facts.
because they're ahead of the line, and I know what they're going for. So it's a little bit of strategy involved as
Yeah,
well.
but you always work yourself into a good, desirable position for yourself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I would say the margins are high in Portland, but I make sure that it makes it worthwhile on my trip to go there.
Yeah.
Mhm. What
Yeah,
would you
I'm
Oh,
scared.
sorry.
Okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say, since you're talking about YouTube, what would you say the focus of your channel is? Is it just to kind of see what the struggles and what you go through to source, and what made you start the YouTube channel? And then, Mike, don't forget
Oh,
what
okay.
you say though.
So remember that Kevin guy?
Oh,
Well,
yes.
so I started sourcing, and then I made some mistakes, and I was like, you know what, pandemic is here now, so I was like, oh, what can I do to be creative? So let me start and do the YouTube thing, and you know what, it did get my creative side, but also um, as I video edit, I was like, you know what, if I video edit a little bit earlier, and I could see like estate sales, I could see what I missed,
Yeah.
and I know exactly where it is because I see it in video. I know what location, what room is in. So if I go day 2, if it's still there, I'll be the first one to pick it up.
Smart. Yeah.
Okay.
Utilize your footage for your own personal edification. That's great.
Yeah,
Good idea.
yeah.
And as far as, sorry, I'm always having to move around.
I do that too.
Yeah. And there's flipper videos, there's picker videos, there's chatty videos.
Yep.
There's something for everybody. And I also work a day job, but I'm remote, and so I sit here with YouTube on all day. And for me, the picker videos is I'd have to more watch it, which is probably not a real good look when I'm supposed to be processing invoices or
Oh yeah.
I tend to have to listen to somebody being chatty.
Oh yeah.
I can't really, and so you know how that is. It's like I can't really just watch somebody pick. So I mean, I think there's a place for everything though, and I've definitely watched plenty of picker videos, but for me, it's a little more practical to have somebody chatting to me.
It's hard because everyone's putting out content out there. You wanted to support, but you can't support everyone because there's not enough time in the day to support everyone.
Right.
A lot out there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's true.
There is.
Yeah.
Yes. So it sounds like you've got a pretty good schedule going. You've got your full-time job, you know what you do after work, you know what you do on the weekends.
That's the project manager in me.
Yes. So I know you were talking earlier about some meetups that you've been to. What are all the meetups you've been to, and like what has been your experience with them?
So I only been to 2. I've been to Trash to Cash Vegas and Trash to Cash Orlando. Trash to Cash Vegas was good as a starter, just to whet the palate of what it meant to be in a meetup. I met people at they also had it in a brewery, I guess, right? So I met a lot of people there, but then I went there more as a tourist because I didn't do sourcing. I went there to just be a tourist in Vegas because it's been a while since I've been to Vegas. So I jumped off the stratosphere. I did the zip lining, ate a scorpion. I did all that for the views. And then the Orlando one, I knew what to expect because I went to the Vegas one. And that one was interesting to meet up, and then they did their live auctions, and people could bid and everything. And then they did that bingo thing at the bins, which was pretty interesting. I thought it was cool. Unfortunately, I couldn't source with that Kevin guy again, because Kevin texted me so last minute I wasn't available at that time, so they went on their merry way. So unfortunately, I hung out with some others who didn't want to source as well. So it it was still a positive note, but it would have been nice to pick Kevin's brain a little bit as he's trying to source as well. So I would say the two meetups, I got a little taste of it, but I got more input by your channel, interviewing other meetups, as well as watching other people's video footage of meetups that they went to, just to get a little bit more experience of what other things are out there.
Yeah, because they're all different, and they all have different aspects and different strengths and different influences and all. And it's fun to to kind of avail yourself the different features of each of the meetups, because they're all different. They all have some basic similar fundamental ideas, like the sourcing and all, and the networking and getting together. But then some of the activities of the different meetups are different, and that's dependent on the location as well.
Yeah.
Another nice thing about going all over the country for these meetups, or you're in different locales. So like the activities are different. The sourcing is different too.
Oh,
the garage sales definitely have different flavor to them, and different attitudes and all, different days. So
and I have to say, I can't wait for the reseller rally, because John, Cincinnati Picker, he has a little bit special place in my heart too. I couldn't go last time, but I'm going this year with you guys.
Yeah, you're gonna love it.
But I want to go there to give him a small token of my gratitude. I got him a gift, because what happened was that I was on the verge of quitting YouTube because I didn't see the movement happening, and I was getting a little bit discouraged. And he actually gave me a lot of support, and he said, "Hey, here's my phone number, here's my email, contact me whenever, we could talk and we could go over things," and he helped me out a lot.
Yeah, John is a great guy. He really is.
Yeah.
And again,
I mean, we all are. I mean, all the resellers, we're all pretty supportive. There's some toxic people, but every group has one. Yeah. So I mean, but for the most part, all of us are pretty supportive of one another.
Yep, I agree. Looking forward to that. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun in Cincinnati, but plan on doing some sourcing, Matt. I mean, like you getting back to your model, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah,
and that you really like. You just the 4 IKEA bags and a pair of comfortable shoes, and you're off. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you have a particular vision, which I have to incorporate whenever I'm at a meetup, in that you have to source small.
Yep.
Now, like I buy like a lot of golf clubs and baseball bats and all of that, but when I'm away sourcing, I got to put the blinders on. I really can't even look at any of that stuff. I got to just concentrate on what can fit in, and I'll end up, overshooting my capacity as well. I mean, what I do is, I came up with this idea where whenever I travel to a meetup, I put one suitcase inside another suitcase, and then I put all my personal effects in the inside suitcase, and really don't even fill that up, because I basically, for a 4 or 5 day, get together, meetup, I can just do a carry-on bag. So I have like a carry-on bag's worth of personal effects in a big suitcase inside another big suitcase. And what I do is I bring bubble wrap and acts as void fill inside the inside suitcase. And I'll bring like shipping supplies and tape, and I bring a scale and all the stuff that gets me, to like, do a little sourcing. In fact, I did, I don't know if you caught it, but I did one standalone video, how to prepare for a meetup. And I talk about all these different concepts, and people have said that it's been helpful. And what I do is, I go with the one suitcase, and then now once I get to my hotel room, I have a completely empty suitcase, so I can fill up, the first half of the inside suitcase and the entire outside suitcase with stuff to source. But I'm always prepared to like ship stuff home as well. Like we went down to Dave's house in Florida last year. He had that storage container garage sale.
Yeah.
So I'm a nut. I flew down there just for that sale, and I brought the suitcase inside the other suitcase, and I thought that would be fine. But what I didn't know was that was the weekend of the A1A highway sale.
Oh, yeah.
So
Wow.
Dave and Carrie and I and Mike Deathpile and my friend Jefferson, who was traveling with me, went to all of these different highway sales, and I ended up shipping 5 big UPS boxes home with me as well. So you can do it. So if you're an exercise constraint, which is not really my strong suit, you can get away with bringing home everything that you sourced in the 2 suitcases.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What did you did on that St. Jude charity at the last reseller rally? Because you bought a lot.
I bought a lot of stuff. Well, I did the same thing. Like I said, I learned right away that the 2 suitcase method is kind of limited, and I use the contents of those 2 suitcases for a specific purpose. I'll tell you in a minute, but I'm always prepared now to ship other stuff home. So like I said, I obviously don't bring boxes, because boxes you can get, but I bring shipping tape, and I have bubble wrap, and I have like a little scale. Here's my scale. This is worth its weight in gold.
Old school, yeah.
Because I can weigh my suitcases and
Yep.
keep them under the 50 pounds. And also I could I tape up like a box to send to UPS, and I'll drop it off at UPS, and I'll ship it to myself. So at the rally, in addition to all the auction items that I bought, we went and we did some considerable yard selling, the 2 days surrounding the event. So I had like 2 or 3 big boxes to send home with me as well, which is great. You get on the plane, you got 1 or 2 suitcases, and you carry that stuff home, and then 3 or 4 days later, you're met with all of these extra surplus that you bought at the garage sales. So I really don't have to limit myself.
Yeah, but it's a lot of work. Once you get home, you gotta organize it, and then
well, you'd be doing that in the course of 2 or 3 days of local garage sales as well. So what I do is I ship everything that's just purchased and non-inventoried items in the shipping boxes. But what I do is I reserve those 2 suitcases for stuff that I've listed. Now I'll do some listing while I'm away, and I have to have anything that's listed has to stay with me. God forbid I put something that was listed in a UPS box and it comes too late, or it doesn't come at all. I mean, this last trip to Vegas, one of my boxes never made it.
Oh no!
It got lost. I put in a claim, but it never made it. But it wasn't any stuff that I had not listed. So I reserved those suitcases that I bring with me on the plane for items that I might have just picked up. You always grow. You always end up taking home more stuff than you bring. You pick up stuff, souvenirs and the swag bags and all that stuff. And I want to bring that stuff with me, but also specifically the stuff that I've listed, so that in the event that it sells right away, I have it with me at all times. So I bring it home.
Yeah, but that lost package, you had to eat the cost, right, of what you paid for those items.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. It's people say, is it really worth even going through all of that and shipping stuff home? It is. I'll tell you why. Because first of all, if you're a savvy reseller, you know how to get the shipping cheap. Now I use Pirate Ship, and I know how to keep a box under a cubic dimensional weight if possible, and all of that. And I end up shipping my boxes about a big 16 by 16 by 16 box. Probably I get home for about $35 now. Right now in that box. And I've done a scientific evaluation of this. In this box, I might be able to include 60 or 80 items that cost me $2 each, right? Let's say just to make the numbers easy. So if I have 60 items that cost me $2 each by cost, now I pay $30 for the shipping on that. So now a $2 by cost item goes up to $2.50.
Yep.
Still cheap enough. So, you just factor it all in and you take an average. So it doesn't really increase the cost of any individual item all that much. So now
Yep.
I get all this stuff home for like $2.50 per item instead of $2 per item, and I think that's worth it. That's
Oh yeah,
worth it.
yeah.
To be able to give
Uh,
myself an opportunity to source away.
you also just reminded me, like, to keep my margins intact. Also, I find my boxes in the recycle bin in my high rise that I live in. So like bubble wrap, paper filler, and boxes is abundant for me. So I don't-
Awesome.
I never bought. I rarely bought bubble wrap. Once in a while, I'll buy from American Bubble Boy, but most of the time I get it from the recycle, as well as the paper filler and the boxes. There's so many different size boxes that I could choose from, and I'm like, if they're gonna just recycle that, I might as well use it, and it
Yeah.
saves me money.
Oh, I do the same thing. In fact, let me show you my box library. Let me shut this down. I don't know if I can. If you look,
Oh yeah,
see all those boxes?
yeah.
There are 67 individual Amazon size boxes, and I have them all. Right? And I have them all built with, I don't know if you could see, but I have like the number of the box and the dimensions of it and the weight of the box, right? So those are all up there, so on display. So like if I have an item that I want to ship and it's 8x6x4, I look and I find the comparable 8x6x4 Amazon box, and it's and it's a number 10. Then I go down below. See below there?
Yeah.
Those are all the boxes broken down. So I have like 200 boxes at any time, and I have every conceivable size, and they're all free.
Mike, you're hardcore. I bow down to you.
No,
We're not worthy.
I think it's a lot of fun, and one of my activities, one of the processes that I do as a reseller is every other Tuesday night is paper recycling in my town. The first and third week of the month are plastic, where they recycle bottles and all, and then the third and the second and fourth are cardboard.
Mhm.
So I'll go in my truck and I'll just drive around all of the apartment buildings, and I'll just grab the Amazon boxes.
Yep.
Because the Amazon boxes are all uniform. I mean, I'm not going to get every different size box
Yeah.
in creation, because then that would be unruly. But I've made a process. I spent a little bit of time where I have like a structured organizational way to get an abundance of boxes all free, and then I organize them so that I have the understock. So I pull it out, and I'm good to go. And I do buy some boxes,
Yeah.
but for the most part, most of my boxes come to me free, and it's fun, and I love getting out there. I love getting out there, and you'll also find bubble wrap, and I'll find foam padding, and I'll find a bunch of other stuff. I found books and all, and I've found things that are saleable as well.
Yeah.
So in addition to the free shipping supplies, you end up getting free merchandise every now and then.
Yeah.
That's a
I
little
like
bit.
the Chewy boxes too, because the Chewy boxes are
They're
bigger
big.
and they always have paper filler all the
they're
time.
big.
So
They're big, and they're strong too.
yeah.
Now you said you had some sponsors. Do you have anybody helping you?
I have Tree Cat helping me out a little bit, but for the most part, it's all me. And I'm sick. I like to plan. I Let's put it this way. I like to plan so much that my wife doesn't like to plan. That when we had our wedding,
You
I
plan the
did
wedding?
I did everything. The only thing I asked her to do is just to pick her wedding dress, because I can't pick her wedding dress. But I did everything. But I also felt bad because I have a big family and she has a small family. So I had like 250 guests and 200 of them were mine. So I was like, I'm lucky that I like to plan, because if not, I still feel obligated. I have to help out a lot because it's mostly my family. But I always like to plan. So something like this is a cakewalk. I mean,
right up
you
your
just
alley.
have like a mailing list of people, and then all you have to do is maybe get a sponsor to help out with the funding. And then the most hardest part for me was just the venue, and all it took was a couple of phone calls to different various locations and get their information and how much it would cost, and then just cracking the numbers and see if it's viable or not.
but it's a lot of work. It is. It ends up being a lot of work, but you spread it out over time. It's not that bad. I mean,
Yeah,
like I said, Mary and I helped. Ben, Alex, and Jefferson with the reseller meetup, and that
it's a
was
labor of love.
yeah, it really is. You have to love it. You have to enjoy it, and
Yeah.
we did. It was a lot of fun. We engaged every day. We were hanging out on a group chat and all. And we had a lot of fun. But if you were and half the time we were just cutting up and just kidding around. It had nothing to do with the meetup details. So that was just that just community and
Yeah.
just hanging out. But if you were to distill all the time that was really just devoted to the meetup, it was a lot. It was a lot. You know, a lot
My
of
only
time.
fear with my meetup is that most of these people are in like suburbs, so they're not used to the big city life. So I want to make sure that everyone is comfortable if they're going, because one, I want to. That's one of the purpose why I did the orientation video, to make it a little bit comfortable for
Right.
them. I told them to contact me if any questions, but I have a FAQ on the Eventbrite website as
Yeah.
well.
I
And
don't.
when I'm there with them in the meetup, I'm going to make sure that they know what they're going to get into when they're planning an attack for sourcing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, you did a really nice job with that orientation video, and
Yeah.
recommend that all of the attendees do check that out just before going, so it's fresh in their minds about the mass transit routes and the hotel layout and everything else.
If
Really, really.
anything, check out the airport, because the airport, they redid it and it looks so pretty.
Yeah, that was a pretty airport. That was a nice, nice. You just had some nice filming in the airport proper.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Well, can you give us the dates, just kind of the kind of the summary of the details, the dates,
Yeah.
just briefly again, what to expect, how do you get tickets,
Yeah.
like those kind of nuts and bolts.
Okay. So May 8th is the first day. It's in North Portland. You could get there to the brewery, light rail. There's some parking. Uh, a bus could take you there as well. Um, it's a brewery where you walk in, you got hang a left, and there's a private room. Once you see that, you're gonna see me there because I'm gonna be the early bird. And there you can have pizza, beer. There's a lot of craft beer there, so if you want to do a flight of beers or different taste testings, you could do that at this place. It's in a nice area. It's a quiet neighborhood area, but it has a nice view and everyone could mingle and everything. So that's May 8th. There's going to be games, giveaways, and I'm gonna force you to talk to me because I want to make sure that you're comfortable for the next day. So going to the next day, you have your planet attack. You either go to the Goodwill bins. There's 3 of them. There's one in the east, west, and north. Correction, east, north, and south. And then you also got garage sales in between, and then estate sales. Portland as a whole is separated into 4 quadrants, sometimes 5 if you consider it, and they label it pretty standard: northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast. So each quadrant has a different feel to it. It's like they have their own ecosystem. So in itself, it's going to be weird for you because it's like the southwest is like very corporate like, the northwest is like very nature-esque, the southeast is very foodie town, the northeast is sort of like a little of everything. So it's like I'm gonna make sure whatever planet attack they do, I'm gonna see what neighborhood they're gonna hit, and I'm gonna tell them how the neighborhood is gonna be like as well, because they should know everything about. I'm gonna be their scouting report for everything. So then now the next day when they do it, I'm gonna expect them to come back at noontime. We gotta hit up insane asylum location, which is converted into a food pod area with food trucks. There's a lot of seating there, and all various of foods. They have Mexican, Thai, fusion, Chinese, any if if they have things for vegan too. If you have a food allergy, I'm sure you're gonna find something that you like over there because there's so many options. And then gonna eat lunch there and talk about our picks and finds. And from that point on, it's up to you what you want to do of it with the rest of your time. You could you could be a tourist. You could fly home. But I do hope that I get enough input to probably tell me if they want to do this again next year. That way, I could evolve it and make it even better than the last.
And how do you RSVP? I know it's free, but I assume
Yes.
you need to RSVP just so you know. Can you tell us?
Yeah. So
right, but
yeah. So if you go to eventbrite.com, eventbrite.com, search for PNW, which is Pacific Northwest Reseller Meetup, and then in there, scroll down like maybe a couple, you find it there. It's pretty obvious. When you click it, you then click availability, you select the date, and then you put your contact information in there. Now, it's very important you do this because I need a head count because I'm giving out swag and other things. So I would like everybody to get at least something out of it because I like to spoil my guests. So if I get a true head count, then I know how much to bring with me to that event. And know what to expect in terms of layout and what they want to do and everything, how much of talking I have to do, and that sort of thing. So it's eventbrite.com. I think Trash to Cash Orlando did Eventbrite too. That's how I came up with the idea. So eventbrite.com.
Let me ask you a question about the hotel now. In your orientation video, you mentioned like 2 or 3 different hotels.
Yeah.
That you like, your favorite hotel and a couple others. Is there one particular centralized hotel that's preferred that, you could suggest to the guests to come to? Because what happens is, like, for example, on the upcoming reseller rally, there is one hotel that John had created a block for, and I'm not suggesting that you created a block, but the idea of having a centralized hotel, and even with the planes to profit, we're all going to like basically be convening in the Doubleday hotel, and the idea is that if you're all staying, a lot of the people are staying at the same hotel, then that becomes a meetup in and of itself. You hang out in the lobbies, you hang out, on the off times, and you're kind of together. And even if you're not
I don't know who that was. That Mike?
That was me.
It's Mike.
And even if you're not staying there, you can like just kind of go and visit, and come and hang out in the lobby. So, is there any one of those that you would recommended that would be like the centralized hotel? Not that it's a requirement, not that you have a block of rooms put aside, but a spot where everyone could kind of like know that they can convene.
Yeah, that's one of the struggles I have because all the hotels in the Portland area are expensive.
Yeah.
So like I was trying to find a happy medium where it's in the center of centrally located and trying to keep the cost low. So the ones I recommend in the orientation is sort of like the in-betweeners, but I couldn't decide which one will probably be best because some of them are very no frills and some of them are a little bit better, but for the most part, all of them are all centrally located, maybe like a few blocks from one another. And that's why I gave that option for the guests in the video. Personally, I like the Marriott Waterfront. Brian Big and Fun actually stayed there and visited me and stayed at that location. Now, he gave me the scouting report and said it's pretty no frills, but and the price is a little bit high, but it is centrally located and you have a great view. So I would say that one, but again, I don't know my audience enough to know if they were willing to spend that kind of money because they're all kind of expensive. So I leave the shopping of a hotel for them.
To themselves.
Yeah. And then because it's a big city, you're not far away from other people. Like the hotel properties are like a couple blocks from each other. It's not like you have to drive 15 minutes out to another hotel or something.
Because what is nice, and I found was very beneficial to me, is that you get a lot done in the morning during breakfast.
Yeah.
If you have like, so I'm sure invariably you're going to have a number of people at each of the hotels.
Yep.
So if you're downstairs early before the day starts, you're having breakfast, you recognize another one of the attendees to the meetup. You have breakfast together. You you brainstorm, you network. What I do is I use the breakfast times to scout out my potential sourcing partners. Like when I was at the Planes of Profit last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had not really known Steve and Don, the Happy Heart Treasures,
Yep.
other than just to know of them by reputation. But they were having breakfast, the same time I was having breakfast. So I went right up to them. I says, "Look, you guys going out today sourcing?" They says, "Yeah." I says, "Could I tag along with you?" And that's how I just, you get a little nervy. You know what I mean? You just,
Yeah.
It's not really being nervy because in fact, it's funny because Steve and Donna, they originally had set up with Jess and Zena, Resale to Ride,
Yep.
to go out with them. So they had a full car. So when I first asked them if I could tag along, they said, "Gee, we'd love to have you, but I mean, there's really absolutely no room in our car." I said, "All right, no problem. I'll go out and I'll approach someone else." Well, in like 3 minutes, Steve grabbed the hold of me and said, "Look, we changed our plans. We got involved with 2 cars so we can accommodate you." So we ended up going out with, the 5 of us in the 2 cars as well. So,
Yep.
people are more than willing to help each other out. So it's
I'm hoping that this meetup that I'm doing, I could actually do a consensus and ask them like, which hotel you stayed at? Do you like it? Is the price point good? Then if I do it again, I'm probably gonna do a block of that hotel for the next meetup. Again, this meetup was just a feeler, just to figure out what people
That's
like
fine.
to do. And I'm hoping that day one, when we do that private room, you mingle and you're like, "What are you gonna do tomorrow?" "Okay, I'll join you for that." That sort of thing.
One thing I can recommend, and it's very beneficial for planning the second one, is to do an exit survey. Do like a questionnaire or something, and just a bunch of questions. What did you like about the meetup? What didn't you like about it? What do you wish would have been included that wasn't? What really wasn't your cup of tea and all? And then this way you can see you're polling the audience through an email or whatever, and then you compile all the results and you say, "Okay, well this idea didn't work great. This idea was good. We could have did it even longer, or whatever." And you have some real specific data to help tailor your next event to
That's
make it
awesome.
even better.
Yeah, I should do that. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. It's a little nerve wracking because also 2 of my guests, I don't know if they still live or they originally lived in Taiwan. So we'll see how that turns out. So I have a couple from Washington. I have 1 from California. I have the 2 from supposedly Taiwan, and then have a few from South Oregon, and then some I don't know where they are, but it's a good mix.
Good, yeah. Well, best of luck.
Yeah.
So you're from what I've seen how you've planned it. It's really a great, a great setup. A lot of fun activities, and basically just accommodating, putting a bunch of resellers together in a room. It's a no fail type of situation. Plus the all of the beautiful aspects of Portland. I didn't realize how beautiful a town Portland was. I've never been there.
Yeah.
And the venue and the event really lends itself to, like, I think, a very, very successful event for you. And I wish you well, and thank you.
Thank you. I want to prove people wrong too, because I'm not going to get political, but news actually shed it in a bad way and showing old footage of Portland and everything, and I want to prove them wrong, and I want people to see how pretty Portland
It really
is.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Moving to Portland, I appreciate the little things after moving out of New York. So it's very pretty, and I hope people enjoy their time here.
I'm sure they will. And before we close, I just have a little business to conduct. We are a meetup channel, so we like to make all the notices. So presently coming up this month in 3 weeks, I can't believe it's almost here, is the Planes to Profit meetup in Omaha, Nebraska, March 27th and 28th. And there are still some tickets available, and they do sell out. So if you're interested in going, definitely contact Corey or John. I had a YouTube video, an interview video with Corey from Grams and Pops and John Resale Rabbit on the channel, and they did just pretty much what we did with you today, Matt, and a little description of the event to occur, and that was a lot of fun. And then Mass will be May 8th and 9th, and then September 25th and 26th, the reseller rally in Ohio, in Cincinnati,
Kentucky. It's right over the river in Kentucky.
and we'll all be there. Three of us will all be there, so it'd be nice for us to get together and experience that. And Mary and I had John Cincinnati Picker on the channel last week, and he gave us a little description of what to expect. So for those of you who might have missed those two videos and are thinking about maybe attending, or even if you're not going to attend, just get an idea of what you might have missed. And what we do is do a live from each of the locations, so that all the people at home can get an opportunity to feel like they've been at the meetups, because they can interactively engage while we're right there. Like we're going to have at the reseller rally, we're going to do a live right from the riverboat, so you can see the IKEA fashion show contest and in action, and all the other activities. So even if you didn't get a chance to come to the meetups, you'll get a chance to witness it, through the magic of YouTube coverage. So that's it. So Mary, you have anything else, dear, before we go?
Well, just one more. Kristen, a rural squirrel, does her Central Illinois reseller meetup every quarter, and I believe her next one is April 11th. But we have Mike Metco meetups on Facebook and Instagram. Go over to those pages to verify, but I'm pretty sure it's April 11th. But we need to have her on too. But Matt, where can we find you on socials? I want to make sure we got that in.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube, ABC Matt 123 on YouTube, Instagram. Those are probably the two places you can find me the most.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming on. It was fun finally virtually meeting you. I've talked to you a lot, but I've never met you in video yet.
And I want to thank you guys, because I mean, you guys make it so transparent for everyone to get a feel of what these meetups are, because people are in the dark if they don't know what they're into, if something like this even exists, and you guys make it really clear and concise for them and give them a feel of what all these meetups are. So I thank you guys for putting it out there.
Yeah, you're welcome. We love it, and we love to share everything that we get involved in. So having this channel was just a natural extension of what we like to do, Mary and I. So thank you so much, Matt, for taking the time out and for hosting this event. And we will look forward to seeing you in September at the Reseller Rally.
Woohoo!
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.